It's the time of the week again. It is the Gift of Gaming podcast. And this week we're talking all things comfortable, the games you keep going back to. So sit down and get comfortable for this week's episode of the Gift of Gaming podcast. Okay, it's me, your host, as per usual. I'm never not here. It's Darren Wade, and today I'm joined by none other than my brother, Andrew Wade. Andrew, how the hell are you?
Yeah, good, Darren. Thanks for having me on again.
Of course, yeah, you didn't fuck it up last time, so you're welcome. You're welcome back. There's
no
fires.
pressure that I won't fuck up this time either. So
Yeah. You're on a thin line. Watch yourself. No. You're doing great. You're doing great. And joining myself and my brother this week is Kev Purcell.
Darren,
Kev.
thanks so much for having me back.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you didn't lose all your voice talk and all things great about Hogwarts.
I'm surprised I didn't. We did go on for
2 hours.
Quite some time.
Yeah.
It's a long old episode. I could have kept talking though for ages in that episode.
I reckon there was easily another hour in there if we had kept going. Yeah.
And Craig, I did enjoy the fact that Craig kind of stopped us. At one point to say, hang on, there's loads here that we haven't even discussed. And I was like, I know, and I would love to keep going, but I don't know if people have like 3.5 to 4 hours in them to sit down for a single podcast. Oh, we could have split it to a two-parter, but that's a problem for future Darren to worry about. But gentlemen, how are you guys keeping? What have you been playing? Anything new? Anything different?
I've been playing a little bit of this great little co-op game with me and Tara. I've been playing called Unravel 2.
Very nice.
Yeah, have you heard of this one? Yeah,
very good choice.
It's a great little fun puzzle-based platform. It's so funny when you see like how two different people's brains work, because usually I'd only play these on my own, and there'd be some times where like I can't get past a specific puzzle, and she'll just be like, instantly, this is how you do that. But then on the reverse, every now and then I get to be the smart one, which is just so fulfilling and rare in my relationship.
I was going to say, thank God for you, because last thing you want to do is get into video games and realize that you're an idiot. What about you, Andrew? Anything new, different?
No, I'm back playing Generation Zero again. But I mean, between that and a couple of other games which I won't mention here because they're better off coming in later on I'm basically playing all my comfort games at the moment. So
good prep work. I like that.
So, but
I've touched on, as people may or may not know, I'm a massive Kingdom Hearts fan. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of been stuck on the Switch a lot lately. I'm kind of waiting for the DLC for Horizon Forbidden West comes out this week, which I'm super, super excited about. And kind of in the meantime, I haven't really found anything on the PlayStation 5. When I say I haven't found anything, there's fucking loads of stuff I could be playing, but I'm just like, I don't have the time to start Resident Evil 4 or, get into... What did I download? I downloaded Resident Evil 4, Days Gone, Resident Evil 7, and there was one other one. Oh, Disco Elysium. Like, as in, I have a folder on my PlayStation for like the to-do list.
To play.
Yeah, the to-do list. And I said I'll download them. That might encourage me to start something else. And I'm like, just hitting up Stardew Valley, or in this case, Kingdom Hearts Memory of Melodies, which is literally just a beat. It's all the songs from Kingdom Hearts, and you just press buttons to the beat And it's funny because in classic Tetsuya Nomura fashion, this game is important for the story, which is the dumbest fucking thing. Here's a music game, but also pay attention because it's in part, as with every game.
Some part of this is going to be vital to the story. We won't tell you what it is. You have to play the entire game to find it out.
Yeah, always. But it's actually been incredibly relaxing. It's a really nice one to kind of turn on before bed, because the great thing about Kingdom Hearts games has always been the music. You've got all your Disney, Pixar songs. You've got there's no like Final Fantasy music that we would know or be really used to, but there's lots of kind of I would like Square Enix music, that kind of. So is this like a Guitar Hero like anything, or is this like push buttons and? No, it's not nearly as complicated as Guitar Hero. I think there is it's literally, I think there's 4 buttons that you can press. You've got it. You're running along a path, which I suppose in your Guitar Hero is like the neck of the guitar. It's that kind of thing. You're running along a path, and you come across Kingdom Hearts enemies. And depending on the world that you're doing with the music from that world, like if I was doing, let's say, The Little Mermaid or, Ariel's kind of stuff, Under the Sea as a song, I'm playing against all of the type of enemies or Heartless that would have appeared in that world. And you're just running across this thing, and you either do L and or for Donald or Goofy to hit either side of you, or you press A for you in the center. And I think after that, you might press Y for this sort of thing. And that's kind of it. So it's not that, but it's kind of like, it's tricky, but it's one of those things that's I just love doing it because the music is like, it's really good stuff. Yeah. And I forgot that there was a game for it for the 3DS, a Kingdom Hearts game for the 3DS called Dream Drop Distance, which I forgot was actually, up there with some of my favorite moments from Kingdom Hearts. Again, integral to the story for some reason. But I really got into that game and really enjoyed it. And I was only there recently going through that section of, because you literally play chronologically through all the worlds with all the characters. And I'm now at that Dream Drop Distance before you get onto kind of Kingdom Hearts 3 area. And some of the music for the end game stuff at Dream Drop Distance is your classical, like you're not your classical, but your classic end of game JRPG, really like just great stuff like choir music and all that kind of. So
everything gets you. They're just kind of uplift you.
I'm kind of like, what am I doing playing this shitty game? I should just get take out Dream Drop Distance and play the actual damn thing. But no, it's a really relaxing game. So that's eating up my hours. But come Wednesday, when this episode is released, because we don't do it live, sorry everybody, I'll have the DLC for Forbidden West, and that'll be me.
Yeah, that's me gone as well. So I'm actually playing through again, trying to just get I'm on New Game Plus, getting all the bits and pieces here just so I can be ready to.
I regret not giving myself the time to do the New Game Plus. I started it ages ago, but other things. I was like, I've platinumed this game already, and the New Game Plus wasn't like there's 3 trophies for like playing New Game Plus, playing it ultra hard, and getting all the New Game Plus items. I think are the 3 trophies, but they don't contribute to your platinum. So I was like, well, this is pointless. Why would I do that?
Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
No, I just wanted it because there's a couple of costumes I didn't get in the main playthrough kind of stuff, and a couple of different weapons stuff. And when you do New Game Plus, you get the champion tokens, which means you can get the legendary weapons and stuff as well. So I basically just wanted all those for the main game.
Did you see the launch trailer for the DLC?
I saw the original trailer. I know there was a second one or something.
There's a second one that kind of introduces, I guess, the characters or the character that you're kind of hanging around with for this one. Yeah. No, it looks great.
It does, yeah. You can go to the main trailer. It looked incredible.
And what's interesting about this, Kev, is that it's only PS5. So Forbidden West, when it came out, was PS4, PS5, cross-platform or whatever. When I say cross-platform, like for PlayStation, that side of things. But this one is only available to those with who have PlayStation 5. So I'm interested as to what's different, what's better about it. Because obviously, if you're focusing on a PlayStation, a game that you need to release on PlayStation 4 as well, the PlayStation 5 version probably suffers a little bit because of that. Because we don't want to make 2 separate games. So I'm interested that they've made this DLC purely for the PS5
the power of the PlayStation 5.
Because the game looks fucking amazing as it is anyway. So I'm wondering, does it get a little bit better, or is it the same? But enough about that game. Yeah. Unless it's your comfort game, in which case, welcome to the table.
Yeah. I've actually finally taken a trip to the universe. I actually only started playing Zero Dawn, so it's all ahead of me.
Oh, mate, this is
my first playthrough. So
you're in for a great run.
Yeah, I get to experience it all.
How many hours in?
Oh, not long. I found I was kind of suffering from a little bit of open world fatigue after Hogwarts Legacy. So to jump straight into another one, I just woken up after the Proving. So nice. I'm not far into it at all. Lots ahead.
Narratively, the game never blew me away, but I think if you were to ask me what game, because you'll finish that one hopefully and you'll enjoy it, you'll want to play Forbidden West. But
already have it downloaded.
Yeah, great. Because Forbidden West is the only game to date that I've played so far that I think has actually showcased what a PlayStation 5 is really capable of. Yeah. For a modern day, fully open world game. How can it look and how can it play? And I'm like, well, this. If someone asked me, I would associate this with the next generation of video games. So yeah, for that alone, it's worth playing because it's the most beautiful looking game I think I've ever played.
Yeah, it's actually why I downloaded it. Was the back of this podcast. I was like, I need to dive in.
I need to see what this
is. So today's episode is all about comfort games, kind of games that we keep going back to. And I'm not gonna we'll kind of play a bit loose and free with this one, because when I was kind of thinking about my list, I was stuck for a game that I have forever kind of gone back to. I think I have kind of jumped from kind of comfort game to comfort game as I've gotten a bit older. So there was never one I could pin down as my be all and end all comfort game. So we'll play kind of a bit loose and free with this. It doesn't have to be overly difficult, but I'm just going to do the podcast plug stuff here, the housekeeping before we get into it. If we miss any games that you think are well worth being comfort games, you can let us know and email us at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com. You can keep up with us on our Twitter, which I don't think I've actually tweeted anything yet, but watch this space, I say with no real belief I'm actually going to say anything, but you can follow our handle at giftofgamingpod, or if you like our content and you want to listen to more of it, you can check out our Patreon at The Gift of Gaming. No, patreon.com/The Gift of Gaming. There will be an episode where I get to.
I was going to. You were so close to getting that.
I was almost there. Almost there. Yeah, fucked up at the end.
The Twitter one slowed you down a bit, and the Patreon just got you completely.
Twitter one always kills me. But yeah, so and it's like that. If you enjoy the podcast, you would be doing us a massive favor if you could leave a review on our Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this. And also, like, if you really enjoy it, you think there's one person in your group of friends who loves video games and might enjoy listening to this. Tell them to pop on and listen to us. These later episodes are probably better than the earlier ones because I know we're better than we were when we started. So, follow from now. We're good now. Okay, so that's the housekeeping taken care of. Let's hop into it. I'm going to kick off maybe, Kev, with you because we were talking before we started the episode and you kind of said you had a few, like me, a few up your sleeve. So, comfort games, what are you jumping into?
Yeah, I suppose there's one I'll get out of the way quick because it's probably like a very much a me thing. But I haven't given any game series more of my time and or money than FIFA. I have had every version, every other year version. I usually let a year or two surpass, particularly when I was younger and you couldn't have the online versions of the game. Yeah. Because like when I was younger, like buying it every year was literally just pissing money away. Yeah. It really was. Like I buy the new version every year now because I want to keep up to date with the most online people I can play against. So if you're like 2 years back, the chances of you getting an online game are a little bit reduced because most people just get it year on year. But like I bought my first one in 95. I bought my most recent one in 2023.
Hardcore fan.
I've been going back for a long time.
Is it possible? I mean, because I played through them for a couple of years. Is there a favorite? Was there one that stands? I mean, I know they're kind of just reiterations. Yeah. But was there one that ever stuck out for you as a?
Well, like, it's a funny one because like there's always been like jumps, like graphical jumps or gameplay jumps, mechanic jumps, like that just naturally happens over the course of like 20 years worth of.
Well, I'd be terrified if it didn't.
Yeah. No, we're still back at the OG. Like I remember like when my first one I got like the 1995 one. That was the second version, and the big update there was that you could play in 2 different arenas, like indoor or outdoor. So like where it's come now is obviously way better. But in terms of one that stands out, a spin-off maybe is where I'd go in FIFA Street.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say it's amazing.
An absolute classic. Like if anyone has played that, it is just a very, very fun game because, at a point, is it just not the same game every single year? It pretty much is, but
it looks shinier though.
It does look shinier. You get the new players, and there's little details that just make it ultra realistic. They've thought of everything in the current games, and that, like, let's say for example you're playing as Bayern Munich and you score a goal at their home stadium. There's something that happens if you're actually at a game where they play a very specific, like I think it's like a Beethoven song after a home goal. They do that in the game, so it's those little tweaks and details like that.
Because the one thing I've noticed is I would consider myself a football fan. I watch the Premier League at the weekends, and one of the things I noticed about the ads in between, like when these, the ads before kickoff or during halftime, FIFA is a sponsor of the viewing of it, whatever, the channel. And one thing I did notice is that there's obviously cutscenes in the newest one where there's people hanging out outside of stadiums holding the flags or the scarves or the t-shirts of whatever team stadium is the home ground at that time. And I was like, that's a nice little touch. But it took them a while to kind of do those little touches, updates. Because it's funny that you should say FIFA. On my list is FIFA, but a very specific FIFA. And this kind of makes me a bit sad, right? It upset me when I checked this out. FIFA 13. Right, big deal. There's a reason it's FIFA 13 as well. I don't know, for those listeners, there's a massive team, one of the biggest teams in the world right now, Wigan Athletic. I don't know why you're laughing.
I had to live with this for a while.
Yeah. So that'd be my team, huge team. But they in 2013 they won the FA Cup. Yeah, and also got relegated from the Premier League. But I choose to ignore that extra bit. But that got me kind of. I was always a fan of them. Well, a fan of them for the couple of years leading up to that. It got me really excited. So I played a lot of FIFA 13 where I would, as you might know, buy a financial takeover, get myself extra funds, put Wigan back in the Premier League, and buy my dream team. Yeah. Wigan with Wayne Rooney. Why not? But I think
a fun aspect. That
you could just make like the dream team. And I did I was never an online player. It was always the campaign mode. But I checked, and FIFA 13 was one of the only FIFAs that I bought, but I played it for years. I would actually, if I was into getting back into it, I would go into the options menu and update the leagues.
Yeah. Get the most current.
See who got relegated, who got promoted, and update it for my new campaign. sadly for me, of all the video games that I've played in my lifetime, the most amount of hours I've spent on a single game is FIFA 13, and that upsets me for some reason.
You can get lost in the career mode. Like, I don't really go near the career mode anymore because that takes over. You will be spending all of your event. It is insane. Like, that's why I just like the heads up online 1v1 kind of getting to play against some random or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's such crack, and I don't know if you've it's obviously been a long time since you've played it, but the online aspect of it is excellent. Like, I just play seasons, so you start at like the bottom division, which would be like 10. You can build your way up to 1. The standard is excellent. I'm currently sitting in 3.
Nice.
So I'm pretty happy with that.
Good.
Yeah.
Online made me very upset. I mean, like I said, this is the game I've pumped the most of my hours into ever. So you think I'd be good at it, right? I think FIFA 18, I got a lend off a mate. So you're talking like whatever 5 years ago, and I started playing that, and I was like, I've been playing this game for years. I'll go online. I'll do it. I am awful at FIFA for all the hours in, and online kind of scared me. It's like that with like competitively. I'm like that with Smash Brothers. I'm a bit like that with Tekken. Is that I always think I'm good at games, and then I go online and realize I'm absolutely awful at a lot of games. It makes me really upset. So
when I first started playing the online aspect of it, I'd done the same as you, where I'd play like career mode, and like you're just choosing the difficulty level you're playing against the CPU, and you do find out how good you are quite quickly when you first go online, because it's a totally different game. It is not the same at all. You just figure out like a formula of beating the CPU. Basically, it's not difficult usually. Well,
I mean,
if you put it to
all right,
very
Mr.
hard.
Expert, I really struggled, right? Even on semi-professional, I had a really hard time. Okay,
but then like you'll come up against some people on the online ones. You're just like, oh, I am not very good at this game.
Yeah.
It's a real eye opener. But like in terms of a comfort game, I don't think there's a franchise I've ever been more comfortable with, or as I said, given as much time or money to either.
So do you have, I'm assuming you've got FIFA 23 at the minute?
Yeah, I do. And this, I wouldn't have always bought it year on year, but it is just for the online aspect is why I'm now buying it year on year. Yeah.
Because that was the thing whereby, probably why I got so many hours out of 13 was that I realized that you could, now obviously the game year on year had improved somewhat in terms of the gameplay and all that type of stuff. But that was a fun thing that you could do, was where you could just update it essentially yourself on the system. And one of the things that disappointed me a lot was there'd be a new star. You'd be watching the Premier League and there's a new star, like a new up and coming kid, and you're like, I want him on my team. And you go on to because I'm playing a game that's like 4 years behind the current system. I'm like, I want, Ben White on my team. And I check out his thing and there's no picture of him. He's 16 and awful.
Yeah, rated 40 out of 100. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so maybe I've been holding on to this version for a little bit too long, because it never updates the stats. Just you just have to update that kind of stuff yourself. A fine choice. And it's funny because I had FIFA 13 written down here because it surprised me. I looked at, when I was prepping for this episode, I said, what games have I put most of my hours into? And my jaw dropped when I saw like the most the most hours I put into anything is FIFA. Like Andrew, you and me played like fucking tons of Final Fantasy 14 online, all that kind of stuff, all these online games, these MMORPGs. FIFA 13 still beat all of them out, and I was like, wow, okay, I guess that for a long time was a comfort game for me.
And like I think like if you look at like the end of year, like which games are the top performers year on year, like you will not find a year where FIFA doesn't crack like usually. Well, the top 10 minimum.
It's always
the top
10.
5,
It's like guaranteed it's always in top 10.
It's like that. It's like it's the Call of Duties. It's that year on year people come back for, because people are craving kind of whatever updates you can get in terms of graphically, gameplay, and I think those kind of games, especially if you're good at them, there's an addictive game loop to them, and it's that, I think another thing that I liked about, now I say it was a pick up and play, but like that I probably got lost in career mode, but to be able to just, like you would do, go on and just hop online and do a couple of games and drop it back down. I think for me, comfort games, that has to be a huge part, like something that's easy just to, whenever you want to just pick up and play for a little while. You don't have to settle in for ages, and good shout. I'm glad it's one you're happy about, because it was one I was not happy about myself. Devastated. What about you, Andrew?
Well, the reason I didn't jump in there because the last FIFA game I played was FIFA 99 on a demo disc, I believe, at the time. And,
good year.
Realized I don't like football in general, so playing a football game had no thing for me. But no, one of my comfort games, and one thing you'll appreciate as well, is when we've spent a lot of time playing Monster Hunter.
Oh my God, why isn't Monster Hunter on my list? That's a fair one, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Monster Hunter, I think we have pumped more hours, like for yourselves, we played it so many versions of that game.
Yeah.
Like I started playing that on the PS2 when it first came out, and it was just the most diabolically difficult game because you're playing it solo.
And it's funny because, you know, we had the PlayStation 2 version of the game, which was notoriously difficult. Like, so, I don't know if you know Monster Hunter at all.
Not my wheelhouse, no.
So, like, you go in and you, like, now it's become, I would say, arcadey in the modern days.
Most definitely now, yeah.
It's easier.
It's
like,
changed away from what it was
Yeah.
kind of thing originally. So this was a game where like you go into a place, you kill the monsters, you get the components from them, you wear the monster, you then go and hunt the bigger monster, kill that, wear its components, and basically just grind one monster until you're wearing its skin, use its weapons or its bones or its claws, and you then go and just, you know, murder the next thing on the list. And like that, we had the PS2 one, which was you had to do it solo, which was like you could. I think if you're in Japan, you could get online servers and play it there. But
yeah, I think we talked
the PAL
about
version. You couldn't.
Yeah, we talked about. I can't remember. Was it a post show or another episode I did recently? And myself and Luke talked about how our, not Kev here obviously, but our other friend Kev, who's currently in New Zealand, had hacked his PSP to play online and jumped like really far ahead of me and Luke, and I was devastated and very disappointed in him that he had hacked and that was illegal, and we don't do, you know, I was a little bit of a square when I was younger, fellas. But yeah, Monster Hunter is a fine choice because I'm incredibly excited about whatever new one comes out. We pumped hours into the most recent one.
I was shocked and disgusted to find out that I had well over 1,000 hours in Monster Hunter World.
Oh my god!
Well, wow. I think I'm 1,400 hours on that game.
And you know what? I'm going to put a little bit of a braggy thing in here. Even with all his hours, it still took me and Craig to help him beat the Fatalis.
Yeah. Look, I like Soul. That Fatalis fight was just that went on for so long. It was just brutal.
That was kind of so to fill you in, Kev, the Fatalis is like the ultimate monster. In all of the Monster Hunter games, he's been like the hardest one. Back in the PSP, you fought him in this cool arena. He's kind of like a weird kind of lizardy dragon type thing. Really, really cool. Anyway, he's like famous in the community of like being like the hardest boss to beat. But I haven't played a game since I was really young. I think when you're younger, you spend a lot of time like cracking games and like figuring out the best way. But we were doing that Fatalis fight, you know, and we it was during COVID as well, so we would hop online and we just every evening after work it was like that was what it would be in our group chat. It would just be Fatalis ? And we all knew we were just hopping into the same thing.
Yes,
we're all hopping into the same thing we did.
And is it max 2-player or what is it?
4-player?
4-player.
Yeah. So we had 4 of us because it was you, me, Kev, and Craig were hopping into this, and the whole point of the game and the game loop, which is so satisfying, is that you're learning all the moves that the monster does, and you learn the moves that they do when they're angry, you learn the moves that they do when they've lost a certain percentage of health, so that's the whole time you're adapting to the battle as it goes. But we got so good at the Fatalis thing that it was like we'd be shouting, like, you know, headphones on, playing, like, you know, in our rooms during COVID, not seeing anybody, but like having this great laugh, and it would be this, we just all have calls because one of us would pick by the body language that it's got, but we were so into it that we knew everything it was going to do, and it still took us.
I walked into it because you guys had been at it for a bit before, because I'd gone to Fatalis and kind of stopped playing the game because Fatalis, you can do it solo, I'm sure, like if you're, you know, completely 100% dedicated, but you're trying to do it solo, especially me. My main was a hammer. I have this big slow yoke that you just go in and you just wail on a monster. You can't do that with Fatalis because it moves so fast. You go to hit it and it's already behind you. So at that point you're dead because you look around and, by the time I've turned around I've already been blasted with its flame attack. So I jumped on with the lads to play it, and like that they'd gotten so down to it that I was watching from afar as they were hopscotching all around this thing. It couldn't touch them, but then like I'd run in like, I get hit with the hammer, and they just turn around and look at me, and the next thing I know I'm waking up on a cart. The lads going, we got this, don't worry Andy, you can come back and you get it the next time.
I was like, you'll figure it out.
Jesus.
But yeah, we played that loads. I think the PSP version of the game when I was younger was amazing to play at mobile. I think I might have mentioned in the podcast that me, Luke and Kev used to go down the country. I can't believe I haven't put this on my list, actually.
I'm amazed that's not, because we spent so much time playing that game.
Disappointed. I think it was one of those games though that when I say do I return to it, I play it through to finish it and leave it until the next iteration. Yeah. Like we beat the Fatalis in Monster Hunter World, and I've never looked back. Like I
that was
finished,
it. That was the
game.
Mountain to climb. Once that was done, that was it.
So maybe that's kind of my own, you know, inward rules for how I think comfort games work. But yeah, that was a serious. Monster Hunter's a great shout. A serious game to. I mean, and so much fun from a multiplayer perspective to play with your mates, because we'd go down to Kev's, you know, family's holiday home down in Roscommon, and we'd stay there. There was one year we went down because it's the summer, and your parents when you're that age are like, we go to a chaos, mum and dad, and be like, "Oh, go outside in the sun." We're like, "We want to stay and play PSP." But there was one year we went down, and it was a miserable summer, and the whole time we were down in Ruski, it was like 2 weeks worth of rain, and we were like, "Lads, get the Cheez-Its or whatever else, sit down here, a couple of cans of Coke, and let's whale through this game." And it was amazing.
One of those games as well, is that like while it was all co-op and stuff, you didn't have to be working on the same thing. You'd all be doing different things. And one of my best memories playing that game, nothing to do with the fight whatsoever. There's a creature in the game called a Rathalos. It's basically like a big red dragon that I love fighting. Like I've got its movesets down to the T.
And it would be the kind of like the flagship monster for the game.
It was the monster you couldn't beat in the PS2 version. And ever since then I always figure out, anytime that's in the game, I'm going to destroy it. I'm going to learn its movesets. I'm going to wear all its armor and weapons. And I always remember playing one, I think it was yourself and Luke were playing it with me as well. And we're playing Monster Hunter World. And I was there whaling the Rathalos. And the next thing I see is Darren riding in on this basically rock monster as he charges through, with Luke chasing after it and Craig darting through the air after it, and kind of going, "This is great. I'm here wailing on this one." I picked a completely different fight somewhere else, and I've just basically charged this fight into my fight. And we've now got two monsters fighting each other while we're fighting in the arena. It was just one of those kind of like, I'm happy. Yeah, this is me happy.
And interestingly enough, speaking of Monster Hunter, there was a Monster Hunter film that came out. I don't know, like 3-4 years ago, maybe a bit more, probably more actually. And I never went to the cinema to see it because I looked at it and it looked bad. Like it's a complete fantasy world. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, the movie, they decided to put the American military in, and they somehow get warped into this world. So they're trying to cross over two very different, and it's a whole hoorah, And which I was like, for fuck's sake. But I said, I'm going to sit. I got a couple hours to kill here in the evening. I'm going to sit down and watch the film. An hour in, I was like, no. This is hot trash. I'm out. This is just a bad film, and it starts off so well because I watched this, and it starts off in the world of Monster Hunter and all the kind of characters, like Andrew, what's your teammate person called, like your scout, the handler. They have there's actors dressed up as handlers and dressed up as guys that you recognize from the games. I'm like, this is so good, and then they crash and it clips out, and it's like, the desert somewhere in Afghanistan. And you're like, no. Here we go.
It's a U.S. military propaganda movie.
So that's a pity because it's, if they went purely down the fantasy route, I'd say you could actually get a decent movie out of that, because the CGI was it was done by either a Chinese, Japanese production company as well. So I don't know if from watching, I'd watch a fair few Japanese films as well. The CGI can be a bit. They have a style of CGI where I would say, is it great? I don't know if it's great, but it's different. Yeah. And they have the CGI that Diablos is in the film, and some of the monsters. And I was like, it's not the best CGI, but I can get right behind it because it fits the style. Exactly. But then I've got fucking hoorahs, Murica, and I was I'm done. A fine choice. I'll go into one of mine, which I kept coming back for a good few years after. Like what is it now? 4 years old, 3 years old. Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah,
I think I mentioned it a couple of times on the podcast. But for me, I literally would be working from home during the pandemic and was thinking to myself, shit, it's fucking the Eagle. It's called the Eagle Animal Crossing Village, or it was called Barry or whatever else. I was like, oh shit, it's Barry's birthday tomorrow. I better find out something I can. But that was how I was just so obsessed with it that during the whole pandemic, the 2 years, because it's a game that you kind of play daily. Its clock is based off your clock. Yeah. So if you turn it on at night, it's nighttime in the game and all that kind of stuff, And there was something so satisfying about that game. And at the beginning of the pandemic, I was probably dealing with a fair bit of anxiety, like most people, being like, what the fuck is going on? But there was something so satisfying about the daily tasks. I was like, oh, if I want to create a lovely little bench outside of the community center, I'm going to need to chop down some trees. Let's get to it. And that was kind of how it definitely helped me manage my normal day-to-day life at the time. But I got into that game and played it, and then went on to Reddit and discovered more about it. Then found the turnip stock market, and my life crumbled around me after that. But no, that was and I think I've talked about it before. The music, it to me, when I hear that, it reminds me of the pandemic, but kind of in all the nicest kind of ways, like the relaxed, the chilling out. And I think one of the things I really liked about it at the time was you could go and visit other people's islands. And I went online, and there was kind of websites and stuff to go visit people's islands that had maybe they were selling turnips at a good price, or they were willing to trade certain items that you didn't have, and it was all this big forum, and you used to go on, and I opened up my island to certain things. But what was so nice about it, and again, they're complete and total strangers, but there was something so satisfying about it, is that you'd have people over to your island, and they'd run around, and they're trying to, either sell their turnips to your turnip selling lady, can't remember, Maisie, who's selling your turnips for a great price. But they'd run around, and they might come up to you at the end, and you can like open up a little chat bubble and put in a message. And I got the community was so nice because before turnips took over everything, the community was so nice that they'd be like, "Hey, your island's great. Like, hope you're having a nice time." I even had a couple of people that said like, "Hope you're doing okay. Pandemic sucks." All that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
it's a lovely way to do it. Yeah,
and it was that thing where I loved, and I did this thing whereby for a while when I was at my job during the pandemic, working from home, I'd leave the Switch up on the desk in front of me, and I'd like take off the Joy-Cons. It's a relaxing way to play, and open up the island and have people come in if they needed to sell their turnips at my island, or if I had a couple of items that they were looking for. But like just someone's popped in, and then have just a quick little chat with that person, and everyone was always so nice. And it was something so satisfying about that. I'd turn that game off of a night and sleep like a fucking baby, being like, I met nothing but nice people in my make-believe world today. But it was like, whatever helps you get through all that kind of shit. So that was for the best part of 2 years was a massive comfort game for me. And you become friends with these, like the actual villagers that come to your island. So the whole idea is as you go through the game, you open for more people to come in and live on your island. And I'm trying to think. There was one villager I fucking hated and did everything I could to get them off my island. But that kind of stuff as well. It was like a little soap opera that I had on my own thing. I was like, fuck Larry. Larry, he says the stupidest things. He looks ridiculous. His house is a mess. I want him off my island. And I'm like going online like, how to get Larry off my island, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Animal Crossing was a massive. And it's funny, like my comfort games are things that like I found comfortable for a long period of time. I couldn't go on to play Animal Crossing now. I don't think. I think like that ship has sailed, but it will always, like I hear that as you know, Kev, we mentioned Smash Brothers on this podcast all the time, but there are like Animal Crossing levels that you can do Animal Crossing characters, and sometimes when we're playing Smash Brothers, we'll pick that level and some random music will come on, but it'll be the music that I'm so familiar with. And even though you're in this high stress situation playing Smash Brothers, I just sit back on the couch and be like, I don't even mind if I lose. This is so nice,
Is there points in Tara plays Animal Crossing? It's one of the few games my girlfriend has on the Switch. And is there like certain, I've never played it now myself, but is like certain points of time, like if it like, because it is in line with real time. Yeah. You can miss a window to do something like specific. So you can do that. There was a great way to cheat the game in that it was based off your clock on the Switch. Right. So there was always like a Halloween special. There was a really nice, this is what I mean. It was, there was Halloween, the first Halloween during COVID. So 2020, first Halloween that we had, no trick-or-treating, no one's leaving the houses. No one knows what the fuck's going on. But Animal Crossing. Get your bag of sweets, put on whatever costume you want, and go door to door to all your villagers and trick or treat. And it was that thing. It was like this really hilariously fucking ridiculous way of coping. But it was like, I was like, oh, I'm still enjoying Halloween. I'm still going to enjoy Christmas. I'm going to do it my fucking mind. I'm going to get like absolutely pissed drunk in my bedroom on wine and go visit my villager family. All that kind of stuff going on. But yeah, so it's based off the clock on your Switch. So what was nice about it, what was quite forgiving, because it was hard, especially like Christmas Day. Like the events are happening on Christmas Day, but you're having your own Christmas Day in real life. So like, who's going to really take on? I jokingly say I got drunk on wine. That's not what actually happened. But so you can miss those things, but you can always just go and manually switch the clock on your Switch to be like, okay, within 2 days after Christmas, but I'm going to make the Switch think it's Christmas again, and I'll do the Christmas event in Animal Crossing. Yeah. So you were never left out. But that's what got killer. Like that, the game slowly it got taken away from me because I got hooked on the turnip stock exchange essentially, and you could only sell your turnips on Sunday. So I used to keep resetting it to the next Sunday, and the next Sunday I was like, where's my good turnip price? My turnips are worth shit right now. I need to fast forward to next week, and that kind of took me over for a while because you can make fucking tons of money that way.
This is the thing as well, because like I, again, like yourself, Kev, I've never played Animal Crossing, but Eve played it a lot. My daughter, like she played a lot on that, and she loved it. But I'd only hear it from yourselves or herself what the game actually was. Every time I spoke to her, she was, oh yeah, I'm in debt again, and I'm trying to pay off the mayor or whatever it was, and I'm going to buy this, and that's put me even further in debt. And I'm looking at her going, this is a game where you purposely put yourself in debt. And then I was thinking, okay, well, maybe there's more to this game. And the next thing here, I think, was yourself and Luke talking about the potato or the turnip thing and how you're all, spend so much time trying to get the right turnip price and stuff. And I'm looking going, this is like capitalism and just dropping yourself into
Andrew,
debt.
it just allowed me to live my real life virtually when I wasn't able to live my real life, you know. No, it did. There was, you know, I forget the dude's name, the guy who owns the island. But like, I think Nintendo knows like they're playing up to that a little bit as well. Because when you talk to him, he's like, for the, you know, come to the island for the cheap and reasonable price of 10,000, and you're like, fuck, that's a lot of in-game money. And like, your character knows it, he knows it, but like, everyone just gets on with it, you know, and you pay him off slowly but surely. That's why the turnip exchange became so important, because I think the game was meant to last a huge amount of time, because it would take a long time to kind of pay off your debts essentially. But with the turnip exchange, you could like grab money real quick, you know, build your bridges and expand your land and get the next package or whatever else, and pay it off all really, really quickly, and just live the sweet life of just decorating your island, which is kind of why the turnip exchange got like, there was a website devoted to it where you could just visit people's island, and the demands were crazy. People would be like, oh, you can visit my island and sell your turnips in my island for the small price of 100,000. Like, literally, that's how it worked, you know.
Pure upselling. Like.
Yeah, that's how it works. So that would be that was definitely one of my comfort games that I fell to for sure. Kev, you got another one?
Yeah, for sure. I think one area of game that I always find comfort in, because they're just such a pick up and go aspect. You don't have to remember too much of platformers just in general. You know, simple mechanics of usually just jump and go, or a little bit of interaction. And I recently got a Switch, like in the last 2 months or so. I got a Switch, and one of the first things I downloaded was all the original SNES games.
Nice.
Good choice.
To dive straight back into Donkey Kong Country has just
Excellent
been
choice.
fantastic. Like, I had it when it came, not when it came out on SNES. I got it on SNES when I was younger, but not on the original release date or anything. And then I'd always play it on like maybe an emulator, but I hadn't played it in a long time. And I've dove back in, and my God, I could just keep going back to it day on day.
Such a fun game.
It's such a fun game. And I suppose, like, I think where the comfort is for me is the fact that there's not a fantastic amount to it, where like I can put it down for a couple of days, pick it back up and dive straight back in. Whereas, you know, as I was saying, I had open world fatigue there. You know, if you step away from an open world game for a couple of days,
where the
maybe a
fuck
week,
are you
Yeah,
going
it'll take you days to figure out what you're doing.
Where am I? What are the moves? What are the
quest was I on?
combos? Yeah, exactly. But with just the basic platformer style, it's just perfect for me. And as a character, awesome. He's a cool guy.
Great, yeah.
And I think as well, like, you know, he was originally a villain in like the early iterations of like the arcade style game. So like to turn him into a hero, and you know, like the graphics at the time as well, they hold up super well.
Well, I think it was one of the most impressive video games that came out. One of my favorite things, Andrew, you'll remember this. One of my favorite home movies we have. I was too young really when we got it, but it's my dad on the video camera on Christmas morning, and it's the Christmas morning that you and Graham are sitting down on our old like little plastic chairs with our tiny little television in our bedroom, and you just got in Donkey Kong Country, and it's the funniest thing ever, because my dad goes, and it's like literally that meme was like, "You winning, son?" Like my dad comes in and he's like, "You having fun, guys?" And it like they don't even look up. They have no idea my dad's in the room. It's just like, oh, this game's fucking amazing. It's like hook it to my veins. But like I like that. I play it on occasionally on the Switch now. I still think it looks amazing.
Oh, I think it looks brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think like it was one of the earlier games to use like pre-rendering, so like it does have like kind of 3D feel, even though like it is 2D.
It is 2D,
yeah.
but you'd think it's 3D. It makes you think it's 3D.
And just like clever little tricks that like you wouldn't have seen in maybe like Super Mario Bros. Games, where, you know, like usually when you're outdoor it's like bright out, but like just even in this game, you know, like it just switches like the weather or the time of day, which just seems like such a simple thing, but for like the early 90s, that wasn't always available. And it just has me hooked and going back. The interactive little characters you can play as, you know, like when you're on the back of that swordfish, like On Guard, the swordfish. Just great crack. Like, and as a series in general, it's an excellent series. I think like, the third one I didn't enjoy as much.
The third one was the Frozen one that was the Frozen Country or something like that, wasn't it? That was
is this the one that came out on the Wii U maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Frozen tropical
Frozen, thing, and it came out.
Freeze,
it came out for the 3DS as well, and it's funny because it lost like that, because you have Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2, and they have the same vibes, same kind of graphics, but the third one kind of, I wouldn't say it looks worse, but it's kind of modern day graphics for a 3D side platformer basically, but it holds none of the same atmosphere as the first two.
No, and I think like the first couple, particularly the early ones, they just have like a charm to them. Like they're just a lot of fun. Like playing as Diddy Kong and like understanding the different mechanics between the two characters. You know, if you need to clear house, you play as Donkey Kong to start rolling and just take out any little kremlin that comes by you. But if you need to make, a more difficult jump, you're probably better off playing as Diddy Kong. And then they kept that fresh by just adding new characters in every game afterwards. Like, you don't play as Donkey Kong in number 2 or 3. You're playing as, like, what's her name? Dixie Kong.
Yeah. Dixie Kong, yeah.
And Diddy Kong in the second one. And then the third one, they brought in Kiddy Kong, which I think wasn't as much fun for me.
No,
but,
I always remember playing that. I mean, there was some levels in that were just, like, by far and away, because it was the first level I remember playing the game where you actually had to work on timing. Barrel Cannon Canyon.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That was just. You remember that one as well?
Yeah.
I think I spent so long trying to perfect that, so I could nearly in my head close my eyes, go, yeah, bang, 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 wait, bang, wait, bang, 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 wait, and just fire myself across the level kind of thing. It was just.
And it has the. I only played it there recently. I was showing Luke. We had talked on the podcast before. I can't remember what the topic was, but I brought up the minecart level in
such a pain in the hole.
Notoriously difficult, but there's something. It's one of those ones that I love where I can keep going back and I'll just keep trying. Like to say it frustrates me. Of course it does, because you have to keep going back. But there's something really quite like I will do this. Like I know I can do this, and I will do this. And I was showing Luke. It was probably a couple of weeks ago actually. I was showing Luke the level. I actually got to it on the Switch version, and I put it on the TV, and I was like, "Here, have a look at this. This is the level." And again, it's the atmosphere of that game. It's the music. It's the minecart music as well. Like when you start the mission and it's that little, or start the level and it's that little build up of music. I'm like, this level alone will always live in my brain. And like,
and it was like that music as well. Like, was the first time you did the Arctic level? We had that really kind of really quiet kind of. I don't even know what you call it. It was
like kind of just like sparse and like lonely. Like that's what I mean about the atmosphere of that game. It really collected. It
set the tone for the levels.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. Phenomenal. A fine choice.
Yeah, and I'm playing it a lot now at the moment during lunch in particular. I bring the Switch into the office a lot because fuck having a conversation at lunch with someone.
I know I've got better things to do here.
Headphones in, and
Diddy Kong's my friend.
I did press jump at that time, and like I'm just going crazy. And I was like, no, I'll get back to you in 20 minutes, lads. It's so much fun.
It is, and as well, like you said, you can just jump back into it regardless of wherever you are. You can just jump straight back into it.
Yeah, I think a platformer it's kind of almost perfect.
Yeah.
It's not too much thinking involved, and it is challenging. Like that is the thing; it is a challenge.
Even
though it wasn't an easy game. Yeah. It was not an easy game.
Super hard.
Because I went through in that playthrough to get back to the minecart level. I played through and I got through most of the levels. It was grand and easy, and I got to the minecart level, and I'm 31 now, and I'm like, I know I can play video games, but it still got me.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, but like challenging to the point where there's a lot of modern day games that I don't have the time for them to be challenging, but it's just the right amount of challenging. I think even now.
You can get through it. And and is it cheating a little bit? Yes, it probably is. But like now on the Switch, you can just save at any point.
And the rewind.
Yeah, and the rewind. So you don't have to like bank loads of lives like you used to and go back into it. So it does just make it easier. But it got to a point on the minecart level, the first time I was playing it again on the Switch, I was like, every time I made a successful jump, I was like, and save. I just
I'm going to jump and save.
bit by bit, I'm getting through this level. What about you, Andrew? Any other? What would be your kind of your main? Because I was talking to you beforehand, and I don't. Yeah. You hadn't.
Well, I've two left. Do you want a main one or a quick run on the?
Go for your main one so we can give it the time it deserves. Because I just don't. I worry that because we are like doing well for time here, but I worry that we might not be able to give your main choice the time.
Well, the main
deserves.
choice. I mean, this is a game that like I've been playing since it came out, and you of course got it earlier in the day. It is No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. I knew it. I knew it.
Like I got that game when it first came out back in 2016, and like this was so much. Have you ever played it yourself?
No.
This was pegged as this amazing world and universe you can explore, and it was huge amount of stuff was in it. But it was one of these cases of huge amount of stuff they supposed to put in it, but when you actually got to play it, it's like this seems a lot more sparse than what it was supposed to be. Okay. And you play through it, you realize none of the stuff from the trailers is in this game. And then you get to the end of it, and it basically just reverts you back to the start, and you lose all your shit. So you go back to the start and go, so I basically just reset my game when I got to the end of the game. Nothing. There was nothing to it. It was just bare bones thing.
So interesting.
I think if I remember the story correctly, sorry to cut across, Andrew, but the guy who one of the main leads behind the company when the game came out, he
had to
disappeared for a while. Like he did a runner because the game was so it was set up, and I remember being excited about it, and I saw it. You showed it to me when it first came out, and I was like, this. Like I'm very, the lads, you lads in the podcast will agree with me when I say this. I can be very critical about that kind of stuff. Very critical about Cyberpunk, Mass Effect, Andromeda, and I never even since I've never touched on No Man's Sky since, but you showed it to me and I was like, this is nothing, because it was like millions of procedurally generated worlds, all with different flora, fauna, whatever else, and build your bases and all these things are going to be in it. And you showed it to me and it was real like, wah. Like it was just, it was nothing there.
It was the most bare bones thing. And then Sean Murray, the guy who created it, his team and himself almost went into hiding at that stage because it was death threats been thrown at them and all manner of horror. Everyone was so...
Which I don't, like, that aspect of it all I don't agree with. Like, I don't agree with that kind of mentality. But at the same time, it's especially when you advertise things in a certain way. Yeah. And again, it's a game that came out at full price.
Yeah.
It didn't come out in beta, and it didn't. And I would be so forgiving of all of these things if they said, "Hey, we're a little bit behind on time, so we're going to release it, but this is a beta
it's still
build.
A work in progress.
So here it is for half price, and when we do the final update, we'll charge you the second half of the money." And I would be so on board with that kind of stuff.
But so this came out, and obviously, like, I played it and got through to the end of it and reset myself, and kind of like I amongst like everyone else just going, what the is this? It's like, what is this rip-off kind of thing? So yeah, they disappeared for a while, and then they came back and said, look, we're going to work on this. We're going to make it the game everyone thought it was going to be. We're just bear with us. We'll go into it. And like that, they started releasing update after update, all free. And they built it back up to what it was supposed to be, and then kept going and going and going. And like the game it is now is miles beyond whatever it was supposed to be at the start. Like it's an incredible game. It's the most chilled out, relaxed game you can spend. And I have spent probably the most hours I've spent on any game.
I mean, you
the 1400
you are committed to like 1,000 plus months.
I think so. I've one main save file. So the way it worked is like you had your main save file, so you could play survival, normal, permadeath if you felt like hitting yourself a few times. And then they started releasing these expeditions. So the idea was that in the main game itself, you go to this thing called the Anomaly, and you could go to a shop and basically buy stuff that you had earned throughout the expeditions. So the idea is you start a new game, start the expedition, and you start it with thousands of other players all at the same time. So you all just jump into this brand new procedurally generated world in some part of the universe and play whatever the mission was. So the first one would be like find a ship and and then once you find your ship, get it all repaired. And what the main game was, but much more of a community event. And you earn rewards for it, and all the rewards you can bring into your main game then and show them off. So if you complete the expedition, you get your shiny golden ship, and you arrive into the next game going, hey guys, look at my golden ship. I completed this. Fuck all y'all. And then more people started arriving, all these kind of stuff. And then more expeditions started launching, and more people started arriving, all this cool stuff. But yeah, the game is just blown up from what it was originally. And it is the most chilled out game I think I've ever played in my life.
And I would love to kind of go back and give it a chance, because I think I was about as excited as you were when that was coming out. Like that was almost a day one purchase for me when it was released, because I was like, procedurally generated world, each one with its own flora and fauna, and I'm just there to explore, because I've been on one for years, a massive just space buzz. Like I'm watching For All Mankind at the minute, and I recently went through like Armageddon, Apollo, Deep Impact, like every space fucking Arrival, all of them. Like I've been doing that for the last like 2-3 years, been on a massive space buzz, and I keep looking at the new trailers for the new. I mean, I think they're finished now, though, aren't they? DLC.
No. They're still planned. So they've loads more apparently planned.
Amazing.
So they figured they've got another 2-3 years worth of DLC.
So your comfort game is going to be sitting there right with you for the next couple of years.
That's the thing. I mean, like I keep going back, and as I say, I mean, between all the expeditions, I was actually looking at, I racked up a good 300 or 400 hours, and on my main game, I racked up 2,500.
I'm sorry, Andrew, do you want to speak that out clearly for the audience?
2,500.
That's very impressive.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean,
yeah. Is it impressive or is it borderline, worrying? But yeah, no, like I've spent so much time on it. And it's like, you get the game, you start off on your first planet, and the idea is you find your crash ship and you repair your ship, and then you move on to the next planet and you get resource and you build it up. And the idea is, get your own freighter, and this thing arrives with loads of like up to 30 ships you can have fly in with this freighter. So you basically control the skies.
Yeah.
But it was very kind of basic, because you'd fly this massive freighter in, and it was very bare bones freighter, and you'd have ships that did nothing but pretty up the sky a bit. But then they started making space more interesting and adding more stuff to it. And one of my frigates now that actually flies in is the Normandy SR 1.
Oh, very good, Mass
So
Effect.
every time I want to get a little Mass Effect pose, I just look at the window of my frigate, and there's the Normandy just floating in the sky beside me.
Because that was a legitimate crossover thing.
That was one of
wasn't
the
it?
expeditions, yeah. So, and it was great because the expedition was a case like you're there on the planet, you've completed all these things, you're getting these weird transmissions coming through, and then you get this transmission going. The transmission is here, it's here, and the camera kind of pans up, and the Normandy just warps in above you and like flies over the planet as you're watching. I was like, oh, this is, and it's got the Mass Effect music playing as it's going through. I was like, this is just.
Is all the like DLC stuff? Is that just comes free with the game? That's
you get the game
great.
now. You get
That's
every bit
pretty
of DLC free. And the expeditions, they repeat them every now and again, so you can just jump into all expeditions again. But the whole, you buy the game now, and you're basically getting, I think it's 13 DLCs.
But I think, Kev, and again, this isn't to shit on it because it's great. Like it's a great redemption story for them to actually come back and do that. But I think up until very recently, they hit what the game was meant to be. Yeah. So there's there's been one or two things since that are like. Are great, like as in here you go, here's just more stuff that was never promised, but I think only in the last, I would say, 2 years has that game actually, and I could be wrong.
It hit the last, I think there's been a few major updates now since it, but I think it's 2 or 3 updates ago is when they kind of hit like, here's everything we promised you, here's everything that we said we'd have in the game kind of thing, and then there's 2 or 3 major ones have come out since then. Like the last one to come out, Interceptor. Which I think I've got that wrong now, but I think it's Interceptor.
Let us know at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com
if I've screwed up and I'm not allowed on the show anymore. But with this one, like, so beforehand it was a case like space battles weren't really space battles. You fly in, you shoot the Sentinels, which are the evil race as such in the game. There's a huge lore behind it as well. It's been built up since then. But if you kill the Sentinels, the idea is it's almost like GTA Wanted level. You kill the guys, you go up to 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, and then a 5-star, they warp their own freighter in. And it is, this thing opens up the sky with lasers and stuff, but it was just the freighter. Okay. And you were the only thing shooting against the freighter. Your other ship might fire for effect, but that's all you got out of it. Now it's a case of this thing warps in, and it warps in with its own fleet of interceptor ships that are flying around the place. It's opening fire on you, it's opening fire on your ship. Your ship looks like it's firing back. Everyone's still trying to figure out, are the frigates actually firing back, or is it just a fancy thing? But you can actually now destroy the frigates themselves, the Sentinels they fly in, and if you do that, you get the components to go fly your own Sentinel ship. And these things are like badass, like X-Wing, TIE Fighter looking things now. That it's a style of ship never seen in the game before, and everyone's gone mad for them. But yeah, it's just they keep adding more. So every time someone goes, do you know what would be great? Oh, it's in the next update. Oh, okay, grand, yeah, never mind.
And it is like that is such a great redemption story, and I think I need to kind of change my mindset about those things because the DLC for Cyberpunk that's due out soon looks like that is going to make it the game that it was meant to be. And I guess, should I be more forgiving about those things? Like, it's great that people finally got No Man's Sky, but should they have gotten, I mean, that's an argument that I always have in myself.
I think with No Man's Sky, from what I remember, it was the first one to kind of do that, make such a huge promise and then just drop the ball.
Yeah, because I think they even had that, like, and that's what I mean, that's the problem, because Cyberpunk did the same thing. Like, if you advertise in-game bits, like, not like trailers, but I think with Cyberpunk especially, they had advertised literally like you walking through the city with all these people, and it all looked amazing, and that it looked it's like it's just legitimately false advertising, and that's where I'm kind of like, oh, you have to draw the line, because us as gamers, some of us, we
don't have the time for that kind
of
thing.
Well, it's not that we don't have the time, but like, it's our hard-earned cash at the end of the day. We're consumers, and some of us might be better off than others. So we, if someone's buying a game, it could be a massive choice for them to go and buy that. You don't want that game to take, I mean, No Man's Sky, took the best part of 3-4 years to get to what it was meant to be.
Fair, yeah, it took the better part of 4.5-5 years and to get to where it needed to be to actually say, this is.
But good for them that they did that, and good for them that people were willing to stick with it, because I know No Man's Sky now has a massive, like, people are big into that game now, and I'm glad it didn't. Because I'd hate to think, I mean, anything can happen. I don't know what went on behind the scenes.
It could have gone a completely different way. I think it's just the fact that, like, I mean, as a Sean Murray and his team, when they were doing it, if they had just walked off, that could have just killed that completely.
And it looked like they were going to as well at the time. I remember,
did they release a statement as to, like, what happened?
So there was no real statement. The game came out, and everyone, as they got to so when the game came out, the idea was you get to the end of the universe or the end of the galaxy, and then you unlock the ending kind of thing. So of course everyone did their best to just gun towards the end as fast as they could. Pick up what you can, but get there kind of thing. And like, I did it myself. Like, I powered through it, thinking, I want to see what's this, I want to see what it is. And it is a case of you're traveling through a galaxy map, trying to get to the bright glowing center of this thing. When you get to it, it's like, oh, cool, and then it just sucks you back to the start of the game with everything gone. It's like, Oh,
Yeah.
That's a bit. It's kind of like the Sopranos style
and when that
ending
happened,
of it.
and when that happened, we're all kind of like, everyone's kind of going, like, jumping on Twitter or thinking, go, what the hell? What is this? Nothing. Not a peep for anyone.
It's almost like trolling, like, but is it?
Yeah, but it's you know, and that's it's very easy. Like, I mean, I was very harsh about Cyberpunk, and I know I was probably too harsh because the development team, the you know, the hardworking people that would have put that together probably had no say at the end of the day. It was probably, you know, big you know, harumph board people that said release the goddamn game, we're sick of delays, and all of a sudden they had to, and there was that backlash. I'd say it was probably something similar with No Man's Sky. If anybody knows out there, let us know at thegiftygamingpodcast@gmail.com what actually happened. But from my recollection, I mean, well, not even my recollection, I'm assuming that they had financial years to complete this by and put it out there, and they just took so long to develop it in even its most basic form, and we're like, well, we have to release this. Do you know what I mean?
Well, as I say, when you look at the trailer and what you got at the start, I mean, the trailer had this amazing ship that didn't exist in this amazing world that didn't exist with these amazing long-necked diplodocus style dinosaurs that didn't exist, and then this big dinosaur rolls in on its back that didn't exist, and then it flies out into space and you see this massive space battle that didn't exist.
Yeah,
he's looking at going, is there anything from that trailer that was correct?
The game is still in first person.
This is definitely called No Man's Sky. Yeah. That's about all you can say for it.
But no, like, a good redemption story and a great comfort game, and I'm glad that they made it. So that's what I mean. I'm glad it became the game it was meant to be, and that people can enjoy it for what it was always meant to be.
And it is the case now. It's like everyone's kind of rallied behind. And just one last thing for this game as well is that when the updates were being launched and everyone's kind of waiting to see what the next big one was, there was this huge thing where Sean Murray, the guy behind it, would literally go on to Twitter and just put a single emoji, and that was a clue to what the next DLC was going to be, and everyone lost their absolute shit every time an emoji code page, to the point where everyone was waiting with bated breath. An emoji comes up and Twitter, Reddit all exploded with, you know, oh, what does this mean? What's it? And it was just, he's got everyone hooked around his little finger now at this stage.
That's
Anything,
brilliant.
and because it is, every time he puts an emoji, it's an amazing DLC, all for free, that comes out like a week later and just blows people out of the water. So
yeah, good for him. Good for them. Good for you.
It's
good for you, Andrew.
Such a comfort game for years to come now.
Yeah, hopefully. Going on to my next comfort game is one that I would say is my most recent comfort game, and one that I've lost a lot of time in is Civilization 6.
Oh god, yeah.
As strategy games go, it's probably the most in-depth and one of my favorite ones. But aside from that, for those who don't know, you basically get to pick, you know, civilizations or, you know, leaders from so many times in history. You can play as Maui from, you know, like, you know, you can play as the Maori from New Zealand. You can play as I'm hitting a blank. Why can't I think of anybody?
If it helps, I've just started playing. I've gotten back into the player, and I can tell you loads of them.
Yeah, well, do absolutely. Cleopatra, you can play as like Cleopatra. You can play
Frederick Barbarossa.
Thank you very much. But all these Gandhi, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
all these.
I know this exactly.
Yeah.
Luke actually was playing this when we were living together.
I must actually get on to Luke.
Yeah, he'll
that's
love
the
it,
case,
yeah.
because I don't think I've ever talked to Luke about Civ 6. But it's this thing that hooked me, and what I love about it as well is each of the civilizations, based on what they did historically, have different kind of perks for your campaign. So, for example, Catherine de Medici, she was, you know, obviously in her time, she was considered a master of espionage and spies, and lots of your bonuses when you're going through the civilization, because you go through the time, like you start off in the kind of the Stone Age and you work your way all the way up to the modern age. And as you get closer to the modern age, her perks come to light, and she's really good at espionage and spying and sabotaging and all that type of stuff. But if you're playing as the likes of Cleopatra in the really early days, you get like bonuses for like building pyramids and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
But
What's Gandhi doing in all this?
so funny thing about
Making war with everyone around him, it seems.
The funny thing about Gandhi, especially when he's AI, right? So there, with each civilization, you kind of, as you discover other civilizations when you're playing through, you can kind of make friendship, make friends with them, and then as time moves on, you can create alliances and truces and everything like that. And when you go on to read Gandhi's thing, he's like he hates people who are at war. And I'll never forget, I was playing through this campaign with our mate Kev from New Zealand when he was living with me. Two of us were doing a campaign, and I went on to check out Gandhi, and like that's his thing, doesn't like when people are at war. And I checked stats to see who he was at war with, which is pretty much everybody else. And I checked to see who declared those wars. It's pretty much Gandhi. So the AI can be a little bit funny at times. But another aspect of that game that I love, aside from the strategy, and I guess I got this, Kev might find this a bit harsh, but when we played, you would play your turn simultaneously, and then I would end my turn, but I'd have to wait for Kevin to end his turn before it moved on to the next turn. And Kev would take fucking ages to make his turn. So I got into the habit of when you would go to, so you can build all sorts of things like this, the wonders of the world. If you discover them, discover the technology for them first, you can build them first, and they all have all their perks. But it gives you like if you go onto like the Civilization 6 encyclopedia, like in the menu, you can read all about it. Like read about Stonehenge, read about the pyramids, read about a certain kind of like the troops, the Eagle warriors from the ancient Aztecs, and it's got historical stuff about them. And I would sit there and just, Kev was taking fucking ages to finish his turn. I'd be like, oh yeah, like as in, but like really just, and not like, I mean, I did it because I was bored, but it ended up being like, oh, I'll finish my turn real quick so I can read something else before Kev finishes his turn. So there's that part of it that's quite relaxing, just to be like, there's lots of interesting bits of this, but it is, as a game, it's a seriously addictive loop. So one of the things it does is when you click exit game, it gives you an option of being like, are you sure you don't want to take just one more turn? And I'm like, it's just one more turn, and then it's 4 o'clock in the morning.
It's so sneaky.
It is so sneaky. But it's the only game where I've played through, because you get different wins. You can win the game through like a science victory where you focus on science-based things. You can win a match through religion. So one of the first games me and Kev ever played through was when we were isolating during COVID. When he came back from New Zealand, we went down to the family place in Ruski that we used to always go to as kids, and it was just me and him. And we got into this massive, big civilization game, and I started a religion called Ruskiism, which, by normal religious standards, I guess, was a very violent religion. I was just like, but I got a religious victory through that, and it made me lots of money. But it's that kind of thing where you can play the game in so many different ways and finish it in so many different ways. And the civilizations have so many different perks that the replayability of the game is massive. The maps are randomly generated. And it's a game that I constantly turn to, and I'm like, I don't really know what to play. I'm like, fucking, I'll start a game in Civilization, and I'm a devil for never finishing them. So the start of the game, where you have your start position and when you're discovering the world around you, because again, it's that fog of war, you don't see the whole map. That's so addictive to play, to be like, I'm going to start a new game, and I want kind of thing. Yeah, I want to be the first person to discover the pyramids, so I can build them on this desert that's near me. And every time you play, it's there's a new reason to start a game and play again. So I revisit Civilization 6 so much.
Of maps on it as well. Like, it's never the same.
Well,
game
yeah,
twice.
but they're all like because you can pick a style of map, like in terms of, do you want to have a randomized map, or do you want to have one that's continents, or just loads of small islands? But no matter what one you pick, that version is randomly generated with resources and everything like that. So it's never the same game. But I put in some serious time onto that game, because it's this big old strategy game, takes a lot of time, but it's in its design, how it looks, how it's animated, very just pleasing to the eye. And great news, earlier on this year they announced that they're making Civilization 7.
I saw that.
Don't know when it's going to be, but like I've got that's what I was trying to say about Civ 6, because there's so many different civilizations. It's the only game where I've bought all possible DLC you can for that game. So they would have released like the Babylonians, the Maori, they were all like DLC. You pay like £3 or £4 for them, and you might get them and a couple extra wonders and stuff. But I have it. I bought it all. I bought everything.
You own the world.
I own all civilizations are mine. Yeah, but it was that thing where I was like, I'm going to play as these guys and these guys. And like I said, it's that exciting thing where it's like, I kind of feel like playing through like more of a cultural game this time. And you look at all the civilizations that have culture as their strong points, like Pericles from Greece was all about culture and theater, and so you can pick him and play through that kind of style of game where all his strengths are focused on building up your culture and getting that victory. So there's so much replayability in that game that.
And there's that one as well. Like, I mean, I remember playing it once there before myself and Claire are playing at the moment, and we're at the point where I think I'm trying to get a mission to Mars now. So we're nearly at the end of our
for your science win.
For science win on that one. But I remember playing before that, and like that, I picked you can choose like a bigger version of the real world, and you start in like a cultural location where you're playing as.
Yes.
And me not thinking, figured I'll play as Tokahida.
Oh, Japan.
And I started off, and I've got like 4 tiles to play on.
Nice.
And
Japan's
it
tiny.
took me 89 turns to get off the mainland Japan to get the actual rest of the world. And my warriors arrived upon the thing in the little boats and stuff to be met with, I think it was Churchill's tanks.
I was like, exactly fair.
I mean, it's historically quite accurate.
I mean, it's like, and that's the case. Like, so I've got 3 or 4 groups.
Samurai.
3 or 4. It wasn't even samurai. It was warriors. I hadn't like. It was just enough to get to. I think it gets like navigation and celestial thing, and then just get off the islands and stuff. And I arrived there, I was like, okay, well, I'll just sail somewhere else instead then. And then like that, I come across Cleopatra with her entire like fleet of planes and stuff. I was like,
I'm way behind.
what? I've missed something here. Yeah.
And another very satisfying thing, as you kind of unlock cultures and sciences in the game, it gives you, like, let's say I was researching like that, like technology for flight. You'll get a little blurb or quotes of what people who historically would have been involved in the development of flight. And it's read by none other than Sean Bean.
Oh,
so
perfect.
good.
And he delivers it in such
So
a
good.
relaxing, it was such a relaxing way. I'm like, oh yeah, tell it to me again, Sean. Like, you know, it's,
I'll
it's
hit
really good.
repeat just to listen to that one more time.
So time wise, we are kind of running on a little bit, but I'll just go through, like, if you can pick just one other honorable mention you might have, if you do have, just to kind of to finish this out. So Kev, I'll go into you again, an honorable mention of a comfort game.
Yeah, I suppose Mario Kart. I'll jump into a game of Mario Kart at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
When, I just can't get enough of it. I think it's the perfect driving game ever because like it mixes, well, just great scenery and like great kind of maps and circuits you can do, and then like the battle aspect as well. I'm playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at the moment, so they've got like 5 battle aspects as well. It's just epic.
Quick question for you, because they've announced that there's like 5 new characters to come into it.
Is there
as well? Yeah. So the other way they have you can get like the Nintendo Pass and you get the extra maps. Apparently, there's 5 new characters.
Oh,
who
interesting.
that you don't have in Mario Kart as a Nintendo character would you like to see?
Well, I think, well, to call back from someone I was previously talking about, I think the only one that you have access to now is Donkey Kong. So I don't think Diddy's there, or is he there? Am I losing my mind?
I don't think Diddy is there.
Yeah,
no.
I wouldn't mind seeing him because that's who I play as
is
in
Donkey Kong
Donkey Kong
Country,
Country. I always pick Diddy. I just find him more fun.
There you go.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him and his little peak cap.
Yeah, a fine character. Andrew, an honorable mention for you.
I'm going to go to, it's a character flaw for me to go for broken games and stuff, but Anthem.
Ugh,
I know. I'm sorry. I had to.
And it's funny because that's a game that It's a game that I really wanted to work. You know,
it was a good game, and I always go back to it because I love the flight aspect to it and the combat aspect to it. It's fantastic. The story tanked like nothing else.
Yeah.
And then, did you ever play it or
No.
So it basically you got to be your own version of Iron Man and just
Great.
like brutalize a world full of creatures with this massive armor, so you can completely customize it to your heart's content.
Epic.
I always play as the big bruise like Hulkbuster style armor, and
Yeah.
you just like everyone else had these force fields they could wear and stuff. Yours was so tanky that you literally had a giant iron shield that you just deployed in front of you. So everyone else was flying around the place, and I'm there trugging on the ground. I'm just gonna shield bash things out of my way. It's just such a fun game to play, but it's not going anywhere. It's a dead game now. Like they've given
well, man,
up
like
on
I
it
saw it
completely.
on the PlayStation Store. For, like, I mean, it's not that old of a game, and it is a AAA game. I saw it on sale for like €4.
I would
was like,
suggest,
oh,
and I mean,
no
I'm
way.
probably going to get such grief for this, but I would suggest picking it up and playing it because it is for €4. I mean, I know it's like support EA,
and it's
all that
it's
stuff.
EA, isn't it?
It is EA,
Yeah,
and let's be
fuck
fair,
themselves.
they are horrible for this kind of stuff. But I mean, like the story up until a certain point is fantastic. Like Fort Tarsus, which is the last stand of humanity kind of thing, all the other forces start to fall. And the whole idea is like Anthem is this noise that the gods left behind to create the world behind them, but it's been corrupted and it's all messed up now. So the world's kind of growing out of proportion and all the creatures are loose in the world. It is a fantastic game to just play. The graphics are incredible. The flight is the best, like Iron Man style flight I've ever played in any game before or since. The combat is incredible, and the customization for it is almost limitless.
Just make sure you buy it on sale, guys.
Just buy it. Yeah, don't
pay full
pay
price for it.
more than $5 for it.
£4 like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it does come from that again, I think I'll finish out with one just very quickly that I think if people haven't played it and you're on the Super Nintendo stuff on the Switch, so it's you can play it as well. It's a game that I have been playing through from start to finish with my mate Danny I've been doing it since about 2009, 2010, that at least once a year we'll play through that game. So as it's more of a tradition than I would say a comfort game, but a fantastic game, Super Mario Brothers 3.
brilliant. Yeah.
Great choice.
Yeah.
I think probably one of the tightest platforming games ever. There's a lot of debate as to whether that's the superior game or Super Mario World is the superior game. I think for meta scores wise, I think Super Mario World has it beat by a percentage or two.
Bare minimum. Kind
Yeah,
of thing.
very close. Fantastic games, but because it's there available on, I think it's the Super Mario All Stars is on the Switch, and you can click into that, and Super Mario Brothers 3 is there. I recommend everybody to give that a shot because, as from a platforming perspective, it's it's the grandfather of them. Do you know what I mean? It's top tier. So yeah, I'd recommend that one, and that's a game that I will at least once a year, and have been doing for more than a decade. I will go back and play through that game, you know. But listen, I guess we'll finish it up there. So I mean, listen, I've got a couple more on the list here I could talk about that we didn't touch upon, but we'll maybe another episode, you know, and we'll leave it there. But before we go, again, if you've enjoyed this episode, by all means, please tell your mates about it. Get them to listen to us. We'd love to have more people listen to us. It'd be great. Leave a review on Spotify, 5 stars if you're feeling generous. If you think we're shit, just don't say it. Just don't tell anybody else. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. And yeah, like I said, if there's anything we got wrong today, or if there's a way you want to get involved in the conversation, comfort games that you think we definitely missed out on, let us know at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com. And if you like the content and want more, we're going to do a quick post show after this, and you can find them on patreon.com/thegiftofgaming. And for the price of less than a coffee a month, you get a couple extra shows every month. Kev, thank you so much. Andrew, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I'll see you guys in the post show shortly afterwards. And to our listeners, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.
Peace.